Thank you. And thanks everyone for showing up today. And thank you to Integrative Family Medicine for asking me to do this. This is an honor. And obviously right now it's really, really important for us to focus on our immune health now more. All right.
My apologies.
No worries. Okay, so we're going to talk about Chinese medicine approach to immune system health. And I recognize a lot of you on this call. So I imagine that a lot of you are already familiar with Chinese medicine, but I'll go over just a little bit with you. Chinese medicine is a 5,000-year-old system of internal medicine and revered worldwide. And I have dedicated my life to it because it's a very elegant and phenomenal medicine for a lot of reasons. I think one of the main reasons is that the encompassing view is that of viewing the body as a garden. So we look at the body as trying to always come into balance. We talk about yin yang and qi balance. And when we view the body as a garden, we want to look at where are we allowing sunshine? Are we watering it appropriately? Are we planting the right things? Are we pulling out the weeds and keeping the pests away? So you can look at this in contrast to, say, Western medicine, which is also a phenomenal medicine, but looks at the body more in terms of a machine. So if a part is broken, we want to remove it or fix it or change something on that level. So this is why Chinese medicine in particular is so valuable in terms of preventive medicine and why it's helpful for boosting the immune system. So what I'm going to talk to you about today are, I'm going to give you some ideas and some tips, but mostly some habits to incorporate into your life, because as you establish good, healthy habits, you're going to naturally create this garden of health in your body. So Chinese medicine, we often think, oh, it's great for pain and it's just acupuncture. And it's true, it's fantastic for pain. I treat pain every day and I do acupuncture every day. There's a lot more in the sort of the Chinese medicine cosmology. Qigong is a mind-body exercise. It's similar to Tai Chi, if you've ever done Tai Chi. It's an internal martial art. So it's the precursor to, say, Kung Fu or karate. So it helps to balance the body systems. Food therapy or dietary choices based on your body, really helpful. Herbal medicine, long tradition of Chinese herbal medicine. We're going to talk about acupressure, certain points that we can press to help build the immune system. Cupping is an important part of Chinese medicine, which we're not going to do today, but if you decide to come in for a treatment, you can definitely get some cupping. And Gua Sha, or gentle scraping on the body, is also a big part of it. Laser therapy, which I do in office, pretty self-explanatory. Moxibustion, which is shortened to moxa, it's compressed mugwort, which we hold on an acupuncture point to help warm a point, not just with the heat, but also with the energetic of that herb. And then, of course, electrostimulation, which I do in the clinic. But these are some aspects of Chinese medicine. So the driving force behind Chinese medicine health is the idea of qi, or our life force energy. In yogic tradition, it's called prana. And we're always wanting to balance qi, coming back to the idea of homeostasis. We want to generate qi, nourish qi, circulate it, invigorate it, so that we stay healthy without stagnation or places of sort of lockdown of qi. And so the way that we imagine the body's immune health in Chinese medicine is the view of Wei Qi, or the outside Qi. There's several kinds of Qi in the body. I won't go into all of the different forms, but the Wei Qi is like a blanket that covers your whole body. And if there's a break or a disruption in the Wei Qi, it's easier for a pathogen or a virus to get into the body and infect you. So the stomach and spleen help to create Wei Qi, so good digestion is very helpful. And then the lungs circulate it. So we're looking at the respiratory system and the digestive system, both in terms of protecting your Qi. It's very similar in Western medicine as well. We're sort of a different overlay, right? Just the same information, different overlay. And disease, the way that the disease can enter, especially through the back of the neck, the ears, the eyes and the head. So it's really important to keep your neck covered, especially this point in the back that we say is the really vulnerable point for wind to enter. So especially if you're out in the cold and the wind and the rain for protracted periods of time, it's really helpful to keep that covered. We have sort of a joke in the acupuncture community. You can always tell the acupuncturists because we're always wearing scarves everywhere. And these are all things that lower your resistance to illness. Quick plug to wash your hands. I know at this point we're all tired of hearing this, but I think this infographic is really interesting and shows where we frequently miss spots when we wash our hands. So it tends to reduce infection rate by up to 22% just to wash your hands. So there's really no reason to not do it. Had to put that in. All right, so the first thing we're going to tackle here is Qigong. And I love Qigong. I teach it every week, every Tuesday. We do some Qigong. And there are three main tenets or principles of Qigong. And that is coordinating breath with posture and intention. And I'll do a little demonstration here. I'll show you kind of what we're talking about. So the idea is that we're farming qi. We're actually generating qi. We're circulating it, and then we're strengthening it, especially building up the Wei Qi. So I'm gonna just bring my little computer over here and show you guys. I'm gonna lead you on some exercises that I think will be helpful. So if you're at home and you feel up to it, go ahead and stand up and we'll get our Qi moving. You can join in, maybe shake out your hands a little bit. And a great way first to move the lymph fluid is to just bounce on the balls of the feet and get a little bit of lymph fluid moving. Yes. All right. So to gather qi, we're going to take a deep breath in, gather the qi. Bringing it down to the lower dantian and releasing. So we're combining breath, deep breath in, gathering the heavenly qi, bringing it down with white light through the lungs down to below the lower dantian. I'm doing a couple more of these. Keep in mind that often when we're stressed or we find ourselves kind of in a sympathetic nervous system loop, which often we are, it's kind of a crazy time right now, that we tend to hold our breaths. I don't know if you've ever been driving down the road and you realize, oh, I have not been breathing. That's a great way to start shallow breathing and then not really pay attention to getting full, deep oxygenated breaths. Great way to stay healthy, full, deep breath. And one more. Great, so we've gathered some qi. Now, the lung meridian begins right here, just below the clavicle, and extends out to the thumb. You have 12 major meridians in your body, all connecting with different organ systems. The lung channel begins here. So we're gonna just extend out to open the lungs and open the lung meridian on the inhale. On the exhale, bring it back to right in front of your heart, inhaling. And complete exhale. Great. You should notice that your body's starting to sink in a little bit, starting to find a place of deeper relaxation. Now we're going to, I mentioned the stomach and spleen, very important. So one last exercise that I'm going to show you. Those two are pretty easy to remember, something that you can do wherever you go. If you don't mind doing this in public, you're good. Another really nice one is for the spleen stomach. It's from the 8 Silk Brocades. And spleen qi in its natural healthy state is going to rise, and stomach chi in its natural healthy state descends. So we're going to just use our intention to move those. So we're going to inhale the arms out, and on the exhale, take the right arm, right hand pushing down, going into a squat, left hand pushing up. Inhale. Now right arm pushing up, left arm pushing down. Again, still full and complete breaths. Wonderful. All right. Actually, is there anybody have any questions about the Qigong or about breath work? Importance of?
One quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
If I wanted to do more Qigong with you online, is that an option right now? Are you doing in-person and online Qigong classes, or just
yes, I have Qigong classes that are posted to my YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and find Lutia Acupuncture Qigong, you will find my classes there. And I do live stream sometimes. So yes, thank you. That's a great question, Ariana.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone's favorite therapy, food therapy. Talk a little bit about how food is important to maintaining your top immune health. Yes, let food be thy medicine. So the way that we approach food therapy in Chinese medicine is that every individual has certain needs, certain deficiencies, certain excesses. So we focus really on the patient, but I'll give you some overall things that are pretty important. One is that the stomach is we call it the soup pot. You want your food eventually to end up as 100-degree soup. So the closest that you can have your food to that state, the easier it is going to be to digest. So eating soups and stews, especially in the fall and winter, really important. I'd say on average, if you can eat 85% of your food cooked, maybe even 90% cooked, and only a little bit raw, it's going to go a long way to your digestive health, which there in turn is going to be really helpful for your immune system. There are a couple of things that are also important sort of across the board. Refined sugar is one of those things during the, especially when our immune systems are a little more challenged, eating refined sugar is damaging. Studies have shown that even 1 gram of sugar consumed can lower your immune response for a full hour. And if you think about things that we eat, how many grams of sugar are in something, it can take a real toll on the body. Alcohol similarly can really lower your immune system. So if you feel like you're going to be compromised, or you start to feel like you're going to get sick, it's a great time to just completely cut those foods out. And I'd say in general to really limit those foods, of course. The lungs, this is the time of the lungs. The fall is the metal season, and spicy is the flavor. So good foods to consume during this particular time are mildly spicy foods, not like Tabasco on everything, but like garlic and onions, peppers and radishes, daikon radish, red radish. These are all wonderful foods to incorporate right now because they do help the lungs to diffuse qi and to build the protective wei qi. You also want to incorporate lots of foods that boost vitamin C, for instance. So great vitamin C foods are, again, the red pepper is a really nice one. Kiwi is really high. We know about oranges, but those can cause a little bit of dampness. Broccoli and Brussels sprouts are really high in vitamin C. So those things are really helpful. A lot of meats and nuts are high in zinc. Now, zinc is a really important thing, a really important mineral to have in your diet right now. And studies have shown that if you're low in zinc, if you were to get sick, you tend to get a lot more sick. So to not only lower the opportunity to get sick, but also reduce the intensity of the illness, really helpful. So, and I will say that there are a couple of foods that are really nice during the season in particular. And I'll just give you a couple of recipes because I think this is really great. So if you ever happen to have a dry cough, cooked pears with cinnamon and honey, wonderful, wonderful baked pears. This is delicious and it's very helpful. There's a very classic food in Chinese medicine called congee. It's a thin rice soup, and it's basically 3/4 cup of rice in 8 cups of water, and you simmer it for a couple hours. I like to put it in the crock pot overnight so it cooks all night. And then you can add different things into it. You can add goji berries to it. You could add pears to it. You could add savory things like sweet potatoes for better digestion. Or you could even add some onions or some garlic to it if you wanted to. So, and that's one of those things that if you have an upset stomach, you're just not feeling good, congee tends to be a really lovely way to calm digestion. All right. Any questions about foods? I'll probably cover a little bit more as we go through, but any questions there? Okay, you guys are easy. Wow. Okay, so Chinese herbal medicine, so much to say here. I don't even, I think once again, it's very specific to the person, very individual related. But I will say that there are a few Chinese herbal formulas that I will sort of break down for you. And then I'll go over some Western herbs as well. So in any given Chinese formula, you'll have about 3 to 15 herbs. That's pretty standard. You have 5,000 years of herbal formula development. There's a whole lot there. But there are a few classical formulas that we use every year because they're so effective. Now, the first of these is Yuping Fengsun, also known as jade windscreen, which you may be familiar with. And it's a wonderful formula to help build the lung qi and protect and build the protective qi. It has astragalus as one of the main ingredients. I know you all are probably familiar with astragalus. It's a wonderful herb to help boost the qi. The thing about astragalus that I will say is that it has a tendency to trap a pathogen. So you only want to take it while you're healthy to keep yourself healthy. But if by some chance you still manage to get sick, stop taking Yuping Fengsun and or your astragalus immediately and move on to something else that's going to treat the illness. And we'll talk about that too. Lingzhi and yunzhi are 2 mushrooms that are really helpful. Lingzhi is reishi and yunzhi is turkey tail mushroom. They're both very powerful immune boosters and antiviral mushrooms, and they're in a lot of mushroom complex formulas for immunity. And they're fantastic. They're very powerful herbs. Lingzhi is also a very shin calming herb. So it also brings in having a calm mind to keep yourself healthy. So finding that place of equanimity. Now, yin chow is a formula that is also kind of a famous formula. Every year, my friends and family are like, I need the yin chow, send me the yin chow. And it's a great formula that you would take at the very first sign of a sore throat. So if you feel like you're getting sick with a cold or a flu or any virus that you come in contact with, it can knock it out very quickly. So, but you want to have it on hand. So I have this is the variety that I carry in my office. And I also have granule formulas, so you can always come by and pick some up from me. You can also order it online. Gua Sha is a formula that's translates as cinnamon twig decoction. So it's a cinnamon and there's several ingredients to it. But the idea is that you are warming when you have cold and chills. You might have a little scratchy throat. It's when you very first start to come down with something. It's also a wonderful formula if you are having like cold headaches or cold hands and feet. It's a very nice warming formula. So here's my recommendation. If you feel like you're starting to come down with something, a little scratchy throat, a little sore throat, take some hot tea, get into a hot bath until you're sweating, get a good sweat going. And then you want to get out, wrap up in blankets and be in bed and sweat it out. You can take some of the supplements that I'm about to talk about. You take some of these herbs, but definitely get some rest and do this. You might feel all wrung out in the morning, but very likely you will have knocked out the illness before it is started. next, we're going to talk about some supplements that you can take in addition to these lovely things. And again, finding them in food sources is the best if you can do that. And I also truly think that even if you eat the most phenomenal diet, the way that our soil is currently demineralized, it's very hard to get everything that you need. And very often we are collectively fairly low in vitamin D, fairly low in zinc. And it shows, you know, it has repercussions. So if you can take supplements that are going to allow you to be replete in these vitamins, you're going to stay healthier. Okay. So I have a few things. I'm going to do a little show and tell here. We're going to talk about some things that I think are particularly healthy. Olive leaf, one of my favorite antivirals. I also really love Gaia herbs. They're local. They do a really good job. They're organic. Nettle leaf, really good for boosting the immune system. Nice thing to take. And again, I'm going to show you a lot of things. Not necessarily need to take these all day, every day, but these are some options for you. I showed you the yin chow already. We know about echinacea. Echinacea is a wonderful Western herb that helps to boost lung qi and protect you. Zinc is a wonderful variety called Trace, a wonderful company called Trace Minerals. This zinc formula, I like the liquid because it tends to be more readily absorbable. It can upset your stomach, so you really want to take zinc with food. It can be a lot, and it tastes reprehensible, but you'll love it when it's in your body. What else was I going to say about that? Oh, they also have, Trace Minerals also has concentrates, which is all the concentrated minerals in one liquid formula. I really like that as well. That's a way to get all of the things that you need. And andrographis stimulates the immune system, and it keeps viruses from binding to the cells. So this is a really wonderful herb. It's actually an Ayurvedic herb. And this is done by herbalists and alchemists. I really like this company a lot. David Winston's an herbalist that I studied with, and he is the owner of this company, and they have superb herbal simples and formulas. And I mentioned vitamin D. You want to combine your vitamin D3 with K2, because K2 helps the absorption of the metabolism of D3. It's also really important to get sunlight every day, obviously. And sunlight, especially in the eyes and on the eyelids, fantastic. And I'd say between 2,000 and 5,000 IUs per day is really helpful for vitamin D. You can get your vitamin D tested at Integrative Family Medicine. I think they do a lot of vitamin mineral testing.
Yes, you can. If you're a member of the practice, you absolutely can. And then we sell vitamin D, liquid supplements if it's helpful.
Oh, good. See, I prefer the liquid. The liquid's good.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, and one more, black elderberry. Now this is the syrup. Syrup is great for kids, but if you're an adult, you're probably trying to stay away from sugar. And I don't like doing the syrup as much as just a general extract. So you can take the extract or the pills, capsules. So those, I was going to say this one, a couple other things. NAC is N-acetylcysteine. This is an antioxidant amino acid that's it's a great detoxifier. I think it was originally used in hospitals for acetaminophen overdose and alcohol overdose. And it's the precursor to glutathione. So it helps the body to clear the liver, and it's amazing for immune system support. I take this every day. This is a time release one. I really like this. This is helpful. Now, this is something else I carry in my clinic. It's Pacific Biologic. I really like this company. A lot of formula companies are being bought out by Nestle right now. So just heads up, be really careful about where you're buying your herbs. I am very selective about the herbs that I sell. And Jarrow, this formula, again, Jarrow does a really good job. They're independent. Pacific Biologic is independent. So Nature Immune, this is a great thing to take. And this has astragalus too. It has a lot of mushrooms, some Chinese herbs, and a couple more Western herbs. It has about 12 ingredients. This is a great thing to take now, take every day to keep yourself really healthy. And yeah, I have this in stock. And last but not least, probiotics. Now, probiotic foods are really fantastic too. So anything fermented is going to be a probiotic. Sauerkraut, make sure it's not pasteurized, but sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, or kefir, however you like to say it. And Just Thrive is a really great probiotic for that. Alrighty. So in addition to the probiotics, I'm going to just go through a couple of things that I think are going to be helpful to the body. So we know that the virus really starts to enter the body or really starts to take root first in the ear canal. So one of the things, and this isn't really Chinese medicine, but I found this to be incredibly helpful. If you mix a little rubbing alcohol with a little apple cider vinegar, half and half, and drop it into the ear canal. You don't want to do this with children as much necessarily, but drop it into the ear canal, not cold, but room temperature or warm, and then let it drain out really quickly and it'll evaporate. Then you can clear it out. You can notice a difference right away, especially if you get those illnesses that you feel begin in the ears. You know how that you can start to feel sick and it's like you feel kind of congested in your sinuses in your ears. That's a really helpful thing to do. Gua Sha is a form of scraping on the body, and it releases inflammation. And I'm going to take this off of share again for just a second, just so I can show you. So this is a Gua Sha scraper spoon. And you can do, if you have a sore throat, you can scrape here along. You want to put some oil on you. You can scrape along here. If you feel like you have, like you're feeling really tight in the shoulders, or you start to get really tense and maybe even feverish, you can scrape here. This is great to do for kids if they start to get, or if you get headaches, or if kids start to act like they're getting a little bit sick. Doing just gentle scraping here, and you're going to do it until you get some redness that shows up, some petechiae that show up. So this is a nice thing that you can do here. You can also do it here along one, a little scraping here. Activates the lung channel. And then in terms of acupressure, this is also a really nice point. So it's just below the clavicle and this triangular fossa here. You'll find where it's tender. So you can push in here, take a deep breath and just gently push. And then you can sort of breathe into it. And it's like getting your own little acupuncture treatment, doing some pressure. And of course, it's on both sides. You can do both sides here.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Please. If you don't have the, was it Gua Sha?
Gua Sha,
Gua Sha? If you don't have a Gua Sha spoon, can you just use a spoon or a, the Asian style spoons that are made out of porcelain, or what do you recommend for folks who don't have that specific tool?
Yes, you can use plastic spoons. You can use porcelain spoons.
Okay.
You can use, there are all kinds of, there's jade tools. There are all kinds of tools that you can use for scraping. That's a great question. Yeah. I also sell these in my clinic to patients. So you can always come by and get one of these, but yes, you can go to the Kim's Chinese market, and she has all this Chinese soup spoons and you can use those. That's great. Yes. I can't demonstrate cupping for you, but come into the clinic and we'll do cupping. The idea of cupping is that you're putting a suction cup directly on the skin, pulling the skin, the flesh away from the bone. And that's great to release inflammation, fever, tension. And if you're at the beginning of feeling like you're coming down with something, it's a great thing to help clear that inflammation out. Right. Okay, so I was going to show you a couple more acupressure points. So, and I think this was on the little thing, but this is my guiding photo. But if you put your thumb against your hand here, and you find the biggest rise area, that's large intestine 4, and it's a great point to massage for opening the face, the sinuses, and the ears. And so it's a nice way to do this regularly to help drain those. It's a great one for headaches, and It's just great for boosting the immune system in general. Another nice point to do, and I'm not going to show you, but it's on my leg. You're going to go below your knee about a hand's breadth down from the indentation just below the patella. And you'll find on the lateral side of the knee, on the outside of the shin, you're going to find that tender spot. And this is your stomach channel. And this point in particular, stomach 36, translates as leg 3 miles. So you massage it, it boosts your digestion so much, they say you can walk another 3 miles. So it's a nice point to do. It's a nice point to moxa, to strengthen digestion. It's a great point to boost Wei Qi. So it's a nice one to do. I'm massaging it right now and it's very tender, but it feels really good. I'm going to show you one more. Just below, just behind the ear here, this is the mastoid process. You have this bony area just behind the ear. And if you follow that around and find below the ear back into, there's like a little indentation behind that bony area. Can y'all feel that? That's a gallbladder point. And it's wonderful when you have the beginning of, you know, when wind comes in and you start to feel tight right here, you press on this point and it can just release everything and it feels really, really amazing. And while we're here, I'm going to walk you closer to the cervical spine, to the neck. If you ever have a sore throat, again, in your life, you can make it disappear immediately, like magically. If you come to the cervical spine, to this area of your neck, and you find the tender spot, and it's going to be different. It's going to be C4 or C5 or C6, the cervical spine vertebrae. And along each side of the vertebrae, these are called the Huatojiaji points. And they go all the way down the spine. But here in the neck, if you find those tender spots and you press on them, you can make your throat clear. The pain can go away almost immediately. It's wonderful. I don't know if anyone feeling some tenderness there right now. Okay, so something to think about. You got those. Now, I'm going to go back to my little screen share. This is kind of fun, going back and forth to my screen share. Okay. Anybody have any questions? I'm covering a lot of stuff really fast. All right, so exercise. This is a no-brainer. We have to exercise to stay healthy. Maybe one of my most important things. But here's the thing: if you're not exercising right now and you're mostly sedentary, starting out with something like, I'm going to start running and get really healthy, you can actually put yourself back and make yourself more vulnerable to illness. So you don't want to over-exercise. Gentle walking and yoga are really great. I really love rebounding, especially for immune health, for a number of reasons. Mostly it moves lymph fluid and it increases your cardiovascular, your oxygen intake. So you're bouncing on you all know what rebounders are. They're like little mini trampolines. Like anyone can get a little mini trampoline. You can just bounce a little bit, or you can like just do full on bouncing. It's a fantastic thing for your immune system. It's a great way to get exercise that's pretty low impact. If you're not able, if it's too cold, I don't like being out in the cold so much. So I will do some rebounding instead of going for a walk or a jog sometimes. Yay, rebounding. Gentle walking. Yoga is really nice. I know all the yoga studios are mostly closed down right now, but you can do a lot of yoga online, yoga videos, much the same as following a Qigong video. And there's so many different varieties to choose from. So exercise. I think the key to that is making it fun. What you enjoy, what you like to do, what kind of music do you like to listen to when you do it? Because if you're just, I'm going to get in these habits and I'm going to do these things, I'm not going to like it, then you're not going to do it. So make it fun. Make it fun for yourself. Okay. So another really important thing is to stay hydrated. Make sure you drink enough water. Some people say, oh, I drink 2 gallons of water a day. I don't think that that's the best idea. I think that can be really hard on your kidneys unless you're fighting some kind of infection. Drink when you're thirsty. And the rule of thumb is to take about half your body weight and convert it to ounces and drink that amount daily. So if you weigh 100 pounds, I like how everyone on their screen is suddenly drinking water. I love it's the power of suggestion, right? take half your body weight, convert it to ounces. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you'll drink about 50 ounces of water a day. And I don't think I need to go into why that is so important. We're mostly water. We've got to flush out the toxins. All right, let's talk about sleep, because, and I think I saved this one for last because it's my favorite one. I think it's so important. It's not just my favorite thing to do, but it is what I personally consider to be one of the most important things. The immune system function is shut down by lack of sleep, just quite simply. When you're sleeping, that is when your body is producing killer T cells. And it's very, very important that and those are the immune cells that kill diseases as they start to attack you. So you have viruses coming to your Qi level, you're producing during sleep the ability to fight those off. So there's studies that show that if you just have one night's sleep where you only get 4 hours of sleep, what actually happens is you only have a 50% ability to fight disease the next day. It's that dramatic. And so, well, there's some other, lack of sleep will sort of erode your DNA genetic code too. 711 genes can get distorted when you regularly don't get enough sleep. So I'm going to talk about ways that you can get good sleep. All right. Consistency is key. So if you can go to sleep the same time every night, you're going to allow your cortisol curve to adjust. So if you're staying up till midnight or 1 a.m., your cortisol is going to crash when you're ready to get up in the morning. So you're not going to be able to get up. So it's really important. And in Chinese medicine, especially, it's important to be asleep, to be in bed by 10ish, because between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. is where your liver and gallbladder are detoxing and going through all these processes of bringing you back into balance and boosting the immune system. So you need to be in deep sleep by 11 p.m. basically. So if you can be in bed by 10, I don't ever tell people what to do, but this is a recommendation. If you can be in bed by 10, you're going to sleep so much better. You ever notice that you can sort of miss your window and you're tired, but then you push through and then you're wide awake until 1 or 2 a.m.? That's fine, but if you can catch it in your window, you'll sleep so much better. Obviously, avoid screen time before bed. We call those Qi suckers. Don't get in bed with your phone and look at your phone. Don't look at your Qi sucker. Keeping the room cool, 68 or below, even 65 degrees is good. Your body just sleeps better in those temperatures. Again, the sun exposure. Expose yourself to the sun every day. Really, really important for your circadian rhythm. Really important for vitamin D, which also helps you sleep. And here's a tip. Melatonin is a fine thing to take to sleep. We produce melatonin when it's dark and at nighttime. But if you take it all the time, every single day, what it actually does is it kind of stops the ability for your body to interpret your own body's melatonin. And it's a hormone, so you don't want to mess with that too much. In a pinch, it's a nice thing to use. I wouldn't use it every day, just to help boost your sleep overall. Avoid alcohol, avoid caffeine. So alcohol can actually help you fall asleep, but then it ends up disrupting your sleep cycle. So you're not getting good sleep. You may fall asleep okay for an hour or so, but then you're going to be up, it raises your heart rate, it causes anxiety. So it tends to really disrupt your sleep. Another great thing for sleep is acupuncture and herbal medicine, which we have already discussed. So these are the tips that I have here. I've sort of, I think I've covered most things. I'd love to go into a little bit deeper if anybody has any questions. You're also always welcome to come see me at my clinic for a more specific diagnosis, or come to a Qigong class at Dragon Phoenix. All the information is on my website, which is lutiaherbs.com. And I want to say that, it's a really tough time right now. We're in crisis, and I want to say especially that if you're living alone, or if you find yourself sick or incapacitated, one of the ways that I'm helping is that I can bring herbs and I will bring herbs and deliver them to mailboxes if you are in need of some herbs. So that's my little bit. I'd love to answer any more questions if anyone has any questions.
I have a question. You went through the vitamins and minerals pretty fast. Could you go back and talk about the endographis? And then you talked about something that was from Pacific Biologic.
Yeah, so the endographis is this the one you're talking about?
Yeah. And what was the company?
This is Herbalists and Alchemists.
Okay.
Laura, would it be okay to end the screen share as you're showing the supplements and we're doing questions and answers? Yeah, so we can see your face. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. And
tell that I'm screen share, so I appreciate that heads up.
And then you also talked about something that was made by Pacific Biologic. What was that?
Yes. So this is the Pacific Biologic Nature Immune 2. Okay. I carry their whole line, but this one in particular is really great for the immune system.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm happy to. I'm sorry I went through that fast. I didn't realize.
Yeah, your screen was, I could only see a little tiny screen, so I couldn't see the bottle very well.
Did I go through it again? Has everybody got it?
I got the rest of them, yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that, y'all.
No, yeah.
I'm curious for the herbs, how you recommend combining them in terms of, in general, for boosting immunity, taking vitamin D and some of the medicinal mushrooms and, what K2. And then when it's an acute issue and you're feeling sick, switch to or add on which of the because there were so many fantastic herbs that you mentioned, and it seemed like you could take all of them, but that wasn't necessarily what you're recommending. And I'm curious how you like to see people do that.
That's such a great question. Yeah, there are certain things I take every day. I take vitamin D every day as soon as it starts getting cold outside. In the summer, I tend to be outside as much as possible, less so. So I'll take vitamin D every day. I will take N.A.C. every day. Remember, on an empty stomach. I will take my probiotic every day. And when I feel like maybe a little bit worn down, because basically what I've done, what we're looking at are all these different things, and it's impossible to do all of them perfectly every day, right? But sometimes we don't get enough sleep because we just can't. Sometimes we get enough sleep, but we just didn't eat very well that day, or or we worked too hard and we were down. So on those days that you feel a little bit more compromised, you can start adding in things like the endographis. I think this is a really helpful thing to take when you feel like you could potentially be exposed to something, or you're around somebody who's sick. You found out that you have been exposed to somebody. Nature Immune you can take every day. I already showed that one too. Now, once you feel like you're, once you feel like if you're getting the first signs of something, then you've got another whole layer of things. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't do zinc every day, but I do think that it's good to have some aspect of, I take a multivitamin that has zinc in it every day.
Okay.
But when you're ready to boost up with the zinc. Olive leaf, the antiviral, when you feel like you've been exposed or you're starting to come down with something. Yin Chow, again, when you feel that sore throat coming on, this is the first thing that you're going to take. And you can take more than the recommended dose. You can take, I hate to say this, but Yin Chow is one of those things that you want to take enough of it to really get it into your system. So I think if there's.
So kind of like beginning to think about what you need to boost just to keep yourself as resourced as possible immunity-wise on a daily basis. Vitamin D, multivitamin, keeping yourself cleansed, a probiotic for boosting your gut, which helps your immune system. And then when you start to feel bad, beginning to think about what kind of bad you feel. So that if you're really tired and sleep deprived, that's one thing. And if you got a sore throat or you have a fever starting, that's different. And having kind of different herbal friends that you reach to based on how you're feeling?
I don't know if, basically, yes. I don't know if that there's an herb that I would take when I'm feeling sleepy. I would just go to bed. I would just take, I would just rest.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is figuring out your habits that you can get into and how to do those things, how to get some gentle exercise in every day, how to drink enough water, and this really should be your the last line. This isn't, your Chinese herbs are great, but there's a saying in Chinese medicine, seeking medicine when you're sick is like digging a well when you're thirsty.
Oh, wow.
So what you want to do is always have these habits in place. So you're already, you have a good ground basis. Your Wei Qi is strong. You're well rested, so that if something comes at you and you are exposed, it's okay because I have these other things that I can come to, and I haven't exhausted my resources. You know. Yeah, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? No. Okay. Great. Well, I really appreciate the time and the opportunity to do this. Thank you so much. And yeah.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Thanks.
We appreciate you so much.
Love you guys.